Linkin Park's highly anticipated comeback record, From Zero, is out everywhere now. And it comes just a few months after the band introduced their new vocalist, Emily Armstrong, to the world. And any way you look at this, it was going to be a really tough transition for Linkin Park, considering Chester Bennington was one of the greatest rock vocalists of all time and meant so much to so many people around the world and made so much incredible and timeless music. But I also think Emily's not trying to be like Chester. I think that she's really done her own thing, and I do very much like the new album. There's some very catchy songs on this record, some of my favorite songs of the year. Now, for those of you who love Linkin Park and are stoked the band is back, I understand. Also, for those of you who are like, hey, this ain't for me, I'm unsure about all this stuff I'm hearing on the side and the peripheral, what is this Scientology stuff, what is this Masterson stuff, I understand that as well. Now, to Emily's credit, quickly after the controversy surrounding Danny Masterson emerged, she released an apology saying that she had misjudged him, she was asked to support him in court, and after learning the details of the case, she regretted it and didn't speak to him anymore. But there's this new report that delves into her ties to Scientology for the many of you who are unsure what to make of this whole situation. And I came away from it very much looking at how complex Emily's life seemingly had been and a lot of the adversity she had faced. And looking at her now, today, this person who is very creative, expressive, and some are speculating might be alluding to parts of her life in her new music. I'd be curious to hear what you think about that. It's an interesting read. So we're going to take a look at this for those of you who are like, hey, I'm not sure what to make of this. And I want to hear your thoughts in the comments and also what you think about this new album. But let's take a look at this new reporting from the Daily Beast. Shortly after Emily Armstrong was confirmed as the new lead singer of legendary rock band Linkin Park, controversy would emerge. Mars Volta singer Cedric Bixler-Zavala and his wife Chrissy would blast Linkin Park's decision to hire Emily Armstrong. He said at the time, "I'm surprised none of you wrote a letter on Danny Masterson's behalf since your corny-ass singer showed up to support him in the prelims. Remember, Emily? Remember how your fellow Scientologist goon squad surrounded one of the Jane Does when she was trying to leave the elevators? The court sheriffs had to escort her away from your awful cult. How do you reconcile the homophobia found in the teachings of Dianetics?" Shortly thereafter, Emily Armstrong would issue a public apology for her past support of Danny Masterson, who was convicted and sentenced to 30 years to life for 2 rapes. She wrote in the statement, "Hi, I'm Emily. I'm new to so many of you, and I wanted to clear the air about something that happened a while back. Several years ago, I was asked to support someone I considered a friend at a court appearance, and went to one early hearing as an observer. Soon after, I realized I shouldn't have. I always try to see the good in people, and I misjudged him. I have never spoken with him since. Unimaginable details emerged, and he was later found guilty. To say it as clearly as possible, I do not condone abuse or violence against women, and I empathize with the victims of these crimes." Then, in a shocking turn of events, Chester Bennington's son Jamie and his mother Susan both slammed Linkin Park. Jamie Bennington accused the band of erasing his father's legacy in a message directed at Mike Shinoda. He wrote in part, "People aren't having a difficult time wrapping their head around the prospect of Linkin Park reinventing itself. They are having a hard time wrapping their head around how you hired your friend of many years, Emily Armstrong, to replace Chester, knowing Emily's history in the church and her history as an ally to Danny Masterson." And later, in a statement released to Rolling Stone, Chester Bennington's mom, Susan Eubanks, said she felt betrayed by Linkin Park, who she claims told them they would give her a heads up if the band were ever to reunite. She said, "I feel betrayed. They told me that if they were ever going to do something, they would let me know. They didn't let me know. And they probably knew that I wasn't going to be very happy. I'm very upset about it. I feel like they're trying very hard to erase the past. They're performing songs that Chester sang. And I don't know how the fans are taking it, but I know how I take it. And having Armstrong singing my son's songs is hurtful. They said they would let the family know if they were going to reunite. They did not. Samantha and Draven didn't know until it was told to the world. It was the same for me, and it hurt." And as for that statement from Emily Armstrong, clearing the air about her past friendship with Danny Masterson. She didn't mention her alleged ties to Scientology. Masterson was a well-known Scientologist. She also didn't address Bixler-Zavala's claim that a group of Scientologists at the court hearing she was at surrounded one of the Jane Does when she was trying to leave the elevators. But now, in a new investigative report from the Daily Beast, they're taking a closer look at the claims and examining her ties to Scientology. The report says documents obtained by the Daily Beast reveal how Armstrong grew up in the Cadet Org, a church-run order for children of Sea Org members, and how her mother, Gail, has been deeply involved in Scientology, working in its intelligence unit, and attacking one of its highest-profile whistleblowers. Later, it said her daughter was also accused of being part of a group that attempted to intimidate a victim of Scientologist child star turned rapist Danny Masterson. The report claims that Emily's time growing up in Scientology is partially recounted in a memoir called The Bad Cadet by a former Scientologist named Catherine Spallino. The book says Spallino's memoir uses pseudonyms for the people she grew up with, but multiple former Scientologists who were raised at the same facilities and are aware of the details of the book told the Daily Beast that Ava in the book is Armstrong. The book claims they were housed in a 4-story apartment complex called the Anthony Building, and there were unsanitized conditions. It said, children slept in 3-tier bunk beds and cockroaches were everywhere in the bathroom. It continued later saying, because their Sea Org parents worked so much, the children were tended to in groups by a caretaker, and most, Spallino said, only saw their moms on Saturday evenings and Sunday morning. The report also obtained a 1991 document that showed Emily Armstrong's mother as the president of the Church of Scientology, California, contacting the FBI, attempting to get the agency to include official Scientology leaflets in responses to Freedom of Information requests about the church. She wrote in part at the time, I am the president of the Church of Scientology of California, adding later, it has come to my attention that FBI files often contain misleading and erroneous information about the Church of Scientology, the Scientology religion itself, and about L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of the religion. In a September interview with former high-ranking Scientologist Mike Render, who once led the Office of Special Affairs, he said he was in Scientology with Emily Armstrong's mom. He said, she was still there when I left. No idea of her fate after that. Mike Render left Scientology in 2007 and appeared in the HBO documentary Going Clear in 2015. In response, multiple videos were released featuring Scientologists slamming Render, including a video featuring Gail Armstrong, Emily's mother. She says in the video, quote, he just kept getting demoted, because he didn't do anything. But he would still walk around as if he was somebody. But it was just an error, and that was just Mike. And later said he had perfected this technique of sitting in a corner and, with his back to the rest of the room, and he would look like he was just in the corner reading something, and you'd go around and he would be asleep. The report continued, saying, while her mother was a high-profile part of the church, Armstrong was relatively low-key while pursuing a rock career as frontwoman of Dead Sarah. But in September 2020, she publicly supported That 70s Show star Danny Masterson, a Scientologist, at his trial, where he was accused of raping 3 women. He was convicted of raping 2 of the women and sentenced to 30 years in prison. The third case ended in a hung jury. And as for Emily Armstrong's statement, she did not mention Scientology or address the allegation that she attended the hearing as part of a Scientology-related campaign. The church said it was not a party to Masterson's criminal trial, and that those who attended were exercising their right to be part of a public hearing, not as part of any organized effort. Scientology also called Bixler's claim unhinged and said they are part of an attempted money grab in a civil suit. Carnell Bixler, her husband, and Masterson's 2 other alleged victims are suing him and the church for damages. She claims to have faced retaliation for speaking out against him. The report concludes, it is unclear if Armstrong remains a member of the church. Linkin Park's management and record label both failed to respond to requests for comment, adding later, former members noted Scientology's practice of disconnection, disassociating from family and friends from former members, as a key lever that keeps members silent, in line, or loyal. The church has both denied the practice exists and previously justified it on its official website. Now, the Church of Scientology denied any claims of wrongdoing in that reporting from the Daily Beast and asked whether Emily is a member of Scientology. They declined to comment, citing privacy concerns. Now, one of the things I found interesting about this is there's a part from that memoir that's mentioned about where Emily encountered this friend, and it seemed as though she was more interested on skateboarding and making music than she was on pursuing Scientology. This is what it said. Armstrong, or Ava, she says, arrived age 11, and Spallino was shocked to learn she has yet to make rank in the cadet org. I guess I don't really want to be a cadet, she recalled the young Armstrong saying. I guess I just want to play guitar. Spallino suggested she join the Sea Org's in-house band, but Armstrong seemed more keen on skateboarding. Now, any way you look at it, Linkin Park's comeback has been a blockbuster success for the band. Their new songs have hundreds of millions of streams on them already, and that will likely continue well into the future as the band has just announced their massive world tour last week. Got the dates up on your screen, hopefully coming to a city near you. Let me know what you think about this in the comments, and as always, be sure to subscribe with notifications on for the latest news and updates right here at Rockfeed.